I'm Mr. Shagufta Patel from St. Paul's High School. Today I'll take Standard 10th, Subject Science 1, Lesson number 2, Periodic Classification of Elements. Hello children. In today's video we'll learn about the modern periodic table, which is also called as the long form of the periodic table. Now in the year 1913, Henry Moseley, an English physicist, he said atomic number is a more fundamental property of an element and not the atomic mass. Taking this into consideration, he arranged the elements in the increasing order of the atomic numbers. And this way he prepared one big table which is called as a modern periodic table, and the many modifications are there for this periodic table, and we follow the long form of the periodic table. And what does his law state? His law states that the physical and chemical properties of the elements are periodic functions of the atomic number. And we have to learn the table in detail because the major part of the lesson is covered by this table only. And what all defects were there, demerits were there in the earlier three classification which we had learnt earlier, that all was corrected and rectified by Henry Moseley. So to study the table in detail, I want you all to refer to your textbook, page number 23. One table is given, a big table, that is a modern table is given over there. So you have to refer to your textbook, page number 23, so that you can understand my explanation well, because without reference you will not be able to understand the table. So I want you all to please open your textbook and go to page number 23. The entire table is divided into 4 blocks: the S block, the P block, the D block, and below the F block. Now how many groups come in the S block? Group 1 as well as group 2. They too belong to the S block elements. They are called as the S block elements. Then from group 13 onwards, you can see the extreme here, right? 13 till 18 belongs to the P block elements. So this groups belongs to the P block. So we have two groups in the S block, 1 and 2. From 13 onwards till 18 they belong to the P block, and then from 3rd to 12th, you can see in between the blue boxes over here, from 3 till 12 belong to the D block. This forms the D block, and the last two series down, which is placed separately, belongs to the F block. So in this way we have got 4 blocks over here. We have got the S block, we have got the P block, we have got the D block over here in center, and at the bottom of the periodic table we have got the F block. There are 2 series which lies in the F block. Then you can see one zigzag line, the green line, you can see in between, this green line is running. This is called as zigzag line of the periodic table. It is very famous because this zigzag line carries the metalloids. Metalloids, you know very well, they are the elements which are intermediate between a metal and a non-metal. They have property which resembles partly of metal, partly of a non-metal. So now even they have been given place in the periodic table. So let me go through those metalloids over here: boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, and polonium. Children, let us go through the periods of the periodic table now. So let us begin with the study of the periods. The first period consists of only hydrogen and helium. It is the shortest period, has got only 2 elements present in it. The second and the third period are short periods, each consisting of 8 elements each. Second also carries 8 elements and third also carries 8 elements. The fourth period, which begins with potassium, and then the fifth begins with rubidium. These two are long periods consisting of 18 elements each, and then the sixth period beginning with caesium is the longest period consisting of 32 elements. And if you see from atomic number 57 to 71, this green box, they are written separately down in one series called as lanthanide series from atomic number 57 to 71. Just because it could not be fitted in the sixth period, separately he had placed this elements group down at the bottom of the periodic table, as lanthanide series. The seventh is an incomplete period, and again here you find that one particular box is there, the red colored over here, beginning from atomic number 89 till 103, from till 103, here. This is called as an actinide series. This is a series of radioactive elements here. So these two from the 6th and the 7th period, this green and the red box These two we place separately down at the bottom of the periodic table, and we made a F block of these two series, that is lanthanide series and the actinide series. So in this way you find that in this periodic table he had given position to all the elements. We'll quickly revise now. Okay, the first period is the shortest period consisting of only 2 elements. The second and the third period is a short period consisting of 8 elements each. The fourth and the fifth period is the long period consisting of 18 elements each. The sixth is the longest period consisting of 32 elements, and seventh is called as an incomplete period. Okay, now let us go through important groups of the periodic table. The first group is very important. It is called as the group of alkali metals, though hydrogen is written here because the table begins with the lowest atomic number, which is hydrogen. Okay, and rightfully it is placed over here because in behavior hydrogen resembles more like an alkali metal and not like a non-metal, which it should be. It also behaves like group 17 elements halogens. Okay, but then it forms a very, very stable positive ion. Okay, so it forms a very stable positive ion like the metals, and as you all know very well children, metals always form a positive ion. So depending upon the reactivity and nature of its reaction, hydrogen is rightly placed with the first group element, that is called as a alkali metals. Okay, so this is the group of alkali metals over here. So first group elements you should know very well, very nicely. Remember those elements in the first group, alkali metals. They form strong alkalis. They're very, very strong in the reactivity. Okay, second group is a group of alkaline earth metals. Okay, they also form bases which are normally not water soluble bases, therefore they are called as alkaline earth metals. They also are reactive elements but less in reactivity in comparison to the first group. So first is alkali metals, second group is alkaline earth metals. Then also remember the 17th group is also very, very important. This is a group of halogens. Okay, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. Okay, these halogens are also very, very important non-metals. They are the most strongest non-metals actually, halogens. So don't forget the examples of halogens over here. And of course the 18th group, that is the group of noble gases, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. All these are noble gases which occupies the 18th group. So questions normally are based upon these groups in the periodic table. Okay children, now based upon the arrangement of the electrons on the various shells, we will be classifying the entire table into 4 types of elements over here. Okay, we have got the 4 types of elements. The first category are the normal elements. Normal elements means those elements whose last shell is incompletely filled. The earlier shells are completely filled, only the last orbit is incompletely filled. And group 1 and group 2 belong to normal elements, and here group 13, group 14, 15, 16 and 17 also belong to the normal elements. Okay, so the first category will be the normal elements. In these elements only the last orbit is incompletely filled. Okay, after the normal elements we come to the transition elements. You can see these elements here from group 3 to group 12 over here. These elements are called as transition elements. And why do we call? Because they don't have a fixed valency like the normal elements. Their valency changes. Okay, and in these elements the last 2 shells are incompletely filled. Okay, this is the speciality of transition elements. After transition elements we come to inner transition elements. These 2 series, the lanthanide series and the actinide series, which forms the F block. Okay, these elements are called as the inner transition elements, and these elements in these elements the last 3 shells are incompletely filled with electrons. They are known as inner transition elements. Okay, these 2 series. And lastly we have the 4th kind of element here. These are the noble gases here. In noble gases all the shells including the last shell is completely filled. Okay, either with a duplet in the case of helium or with a with an octet in the case of other elements. So you find that here we have got here 4 types of elements present over here. Okay, that is depending upon the position of the electrons. Okay, in the various shells we will be having normal elements. Okay, where you find that only the last shell is incomplete, rest all the shells are completely filled. Then we have transition elements here. D block elements are transition elements. The last 2 shells are incompletely filled. Then the inner transition elements, which is in the F block, the last 3 shells are incompletely filled. And lastly we have the noble gases where all the shells are completely filled. Okay, in this particular board, you will find I've listed some groups, important groups here: 1, 2, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18, and some important periods from 1 to 4. Okay, now here we will be learning in this periodic table that the properties, you will find the properties of the elements will be somewhere same. Sometimes you find gradations, so you find there are similarities and gradations in the properties of the elements in the periodic table. Now let us go through. We will see now where we see similarity and where we find gradation. Okay, now where we find similarity, now see in a group. Now for example, the first group, which is called as the group of alkali metal, you find hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium and so on. Many other elements are below it. So let us see a few examples over here. Hydrogen, the atomic number is 1, so configuration is only 1. Only one electron it has got in the first and last orbit. Lithium, atomic number is 3, it has got configuration 2 and 1, 2 in the first orbit, 1 in second orbit, last orbit. Sodium, atomic number is 11, so 281 is the configuration. Potassium, atomic number is 19, so 2881 is the configuration. So what do you find similarity over here? In the first group elements, the valence electrons are same. Valence electrons are last orbit electrons. So here we have one valence electron, here also 1, 1, 1. Since they have one valence electron here, okay, they all behave in a similar manner, and they also exhibit valency 1. Why they exhibit valency 1? Because for these elements to become stable, they need to give one electron to other element. Then their earlier orbits can become stable with a octet or a duplet. Okay, and this valency part, children, you have learned in 9th standard, so you know very well when the elements give and take electrons. So in this way, these metals will give the last one electron, valence electron, to become stable, and they will exhibit valency 1. So all the elements in the first group will be showing valency 1 over here. They show similarity in their valency. Now see group 2 here. In the group 2, for example, we have beryllium with atomic number 4, configuration is 2, 2, magnesium with 12, 282, calcium is 20, 2, 8, 8, 2. Again you see similarity here. The last orbit is having 2 as electrons, valence electrons are 2 here. Okay, therefore they behave in similar manner, and therefore the valency is 2, because these elements will give away those last orbit 2 electron to become stable. So first group valency is 1, second group valency is 2. Now come to 13th group. In 13th group example, we start with boron. It has got 5 atomic numbers as 5. So configuration is 2 in the first orbit electrons, and the 3 electrons go in the next orbit. Aluminium is 283 and so on. You find there are 3 valence electrons, okay, in these elements. So therefore they will give away 3 electrons and become positive ions, and therefore valency is 3. So again for 13th group valency is 3. 14th group you will find they have got 4 valence electrons. These elements normally go for sharing of electrons, example carbon, okay, and exhibit valency as 4. 15th group you find they have got 5 valence electrons in the last orbit, okay, and now they will not give 5 electrons, they will accept 3 electrons to become stable. For example, nitrogen has got 5 electrons in the last orbit, it will not give 5 electron, it will accept 3 electrons from the other element and become 8 in the last orbit, have an octet. So it is accepting 3 electron. Similarly, phosphorus accepts 3 electrons, therefore the valency will be 3 here. Okay, so 16th group, okay, last orbit has 6 electrons here, so they will accept 2 electrons from other element to become octet, so valency is 2 here. 17th group, halogens group, okay, they have 7 electrons in the last orbit, they will accept 1 electron each and they will exhibit valency 1. And the 18th group, they have got complete duplet like helium, and others have got octet, 8 electrons, they will neither give nor take electron, and therefore they will exhibit 0 valency. So what do you find over here? You find a gradation in the valency across a period. In a group valency is same, but across a period valency is not same. Okay, it is 1 for period group number 1, 2 for group number 2, 3 for 13, 4 for 14, then it decreases from 15, so it becomes 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so how does the valency, how does it show gradation? It shows like 1, 2, 3, 4, then 3, 2, 1 and 0. So this way you find gradation in the valency of the elements across a period. Okay. After valency, we saw how the valency increased and then decreased and became 0. Now we come to atomic size. What is meant by the term atomic size? Atomic size is nothing but it is the distance between the nucleus till the last orbit. Okay, atomic size depends upon the atomic radius. Suppose for example, I've just drawn a simple structure of an atom over here. Okay, this is the nucleus of the atom here, and these are the various orbits. Okay, now the distance between the nucleus till the last orbit tells you atomic radius. And on the basis of atomic radius, we decide the atomic size. Greater is the atomic radius, more is the atomic size. Small is the atomic radius, small is the atomic size. So now if you see here, again we see these examples, okay. Atomic size will increase in a group. Why it increases? Because as you go down in a group, the number of shells goes on increasing. You can see it here. Here we have one shell, here two shells, here three shells, and here potassium has got four shells over here. So number of shells goes on increasing down in a group. Same thing you see find in second group also, and 13th also, and 14th also, and 15th, and so on. So in a group the atomic size will go on increasing, okay. But then if you see across a period, for example, see here, to learn about the period, okay, see period number 2 here, for example, okay. In period number 2, decrease. Now why it is going to decrease? See, first of all you will see here, in a period, okay, it has got same number of shells, because period number tells you the number of shells over here, okay. How many shells are present in the atom, that is told by the period. So now there are two periods in every element in period number 2. If you go to period number 3, every element will have three shells over here. So you will think that the atomic size will be same. It is not like that. It will go on decreasing. Why it will decrease? It will go on shrinking, because even if the shells are same in number, but if you see the last orbit, here there was one electron, but here it is 2 electrons in the last orbit, here it is 3 electrons. So as the atomic number goes on increasing across a period, the number of valence electrons also goes on increasing. If the electrons goes on increasing, similarly in the nucleus of these atoms, the protons goes on increasing. So the nucleus will experience more pull towards the outer electron. So more you increase electrons in the last orbit, the more the nucleus will pull it towards it. Because in the nucleus even the positive charge increases along with the positively charged protons over here. So more electrons are added in the same shell, okay, because we have not increased the number of shells. Shells are constant over here, 2 to each, but we have increased the number of electrons, valence electrons in the last shell. So as the valence electrons goes on increasing, they experience more pull towards the nucleus, and therefore the atomic size goes on shrinking as you go from left to right in a periodic table. So what did we learn here? In a group, or as you go from top to bottom, the atomic size goes on increasing because the shells, number of shells goes on increasing. But if you go across a period from left to right, okay, even if the shells are constant, okay, but atomic size will not be same. It will go on shrinking if you go from left to right in a periodic table. The next property which we learn, the last property of it, is the metallic and the non-metallic character of the elements in a periodic table. Now if you go from top to bottom, again what do you find here? That the metallic character goes on increasing from top to bottom. Why do we say that? Because what is the metallic character? When do we say elements are metals? When elements tend to easily lose electrons, we call them as very good metals. Okay, so here if you go from top to bottom, okay, you find that these elements will tend to easily give away the electrons, leaving hydrogen, which normally shares electrons with other non-metals. But here lithium, sodium, potassium, other metals over here, you find they easily tend to give the last orbit electron. The more the electron is far from the nucleus, the more it is easily lost by the atom. Okay, so in this way you find if you go from top to bottom, as the number of shells increases, the outer electrons become far away from the nucleus, and therefore they are easily lost, and therefore the metallic character goes on increasing from top to bottom. Okay, same way here also you find in every group the metallic character goes on increasing from top to bottom, because the number of shells goes on increasing and the last orbit electrons will be far away from the nucleus. Okay, now but when we go across a period, okay, across a period you don't find this similarities there. Okay, if you go from, suppose for example, say period number 2, okay, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. Okay, lithium is a very good metal. It is highly electropositive. Very soon it loses that one electron and becomes a positive ion. Okay, beryllium will also lose those 2 electrons and become positive ion, but not as good as lithium. So what do you find here? That as you go from left to right, the tendency to lose electrons goes on decreasing and the tendency to gain electron goes on increasing. So lithium can easily lose electron very nicely, therefore very good metal. Beryllium will lose electron but not as good as lithium. Boron is a metalloid. Carbon will be sharing electron. Nitrogen will not be giving electron. Okay, it will be accepting electron because it will not be giving away those 5 electrons. So after nitrogen, everybody will accept electron till fluorine. So you find that these elements are mostly electronegative because they go on accepting electrons and become negative ions. So what do you find over here? If you go from across a period, the metals, the metallic character will go on decreasing and the non-metallic character will go on increasing. So children, in today's video you have learned the important features of modern periodic table. Same time you have assignment to solve. In this way you can prepare the lesson very nicely. So with the last topic of modern periodic table, we come to end of the lesson, that is periodic classification of elements.